timed it better than that.
Do you want me to just call the meeting to order as acting? Just
Yep.
take a bull by the horns and
Yep.
do it? Okay, I'll
I'll
time it.
get to it then. Now you're sticking right with that agenda, right?
Yeah, I was just telling Ron, it didn't have approved meeting minutes from the last meeting, but we'll just do those in August. We could do two
I
sets
think
of
that,
them,
yeah.
2 sets in August.
Are there any more chairs for me to steal?
One right here.
This one?
Nobody's in it yet.
So do you think we only have to talk about the ones that aren't answered? This one. We never answered Howard on that, but later on, Dave Morrison said that he didn't think so.
Yeah, I don't remember what Dave's reason was, if it was because it may have been because of town meeting. What was passed said, set up to postpone it until the next town meeting.
Yeah. I didn't write that it wasn't in the meeting minutes, why?
Yeah.
That probably was the reason. So there's that one, there's these couple.
You want to sit down here?
Oh, looks like I have a typo in here. Nobody caught.
Oh.
Yeah, you can have this
You
one.
got that.
Oh, you got no one there? Okay.
You can have this one, yeah, if you want it.
That sounds good.
Typo.
I'd rather have that than the little chair. What's that for? I guess so.
We thought we'd just go over the ones that
Mhm. Outstanding.
were mentioned, the ones that were outstanding. So,
This agenda, I gotta answer to this, whether are all papers at the town clerk's now?
You better be ready for now.
58, we got 2 more minutes.
Thank you.
Basically, most of the ones, well, a couple of the ones from last time weren't answered. We do owe Jim an answer on providing extra material for the McLaughlins. Which would have to be pushed to August. We could discuss it tonight, but it would have to be pushed to August to vote on it. That's my understanding. Few more seconds. Okay, 6 o'clock, I'm gonna call the meeting to order. We're without a chair, so I'm going to serve as an acting chair tonight. And the reason I'm doing that is because I put together the 2 documents that are at the back of the room as handouts. So call to order at 6 p.m. And are there any modifications to the agenda? I noticed that we didn't put approved meeting minutes from the last time on there, but we can take care of that in August with these meeting minutes from tonight. Anything else? We're going to start off with citizens' concerns, but tonight it's not going to be new citizens' concerns. It's going to be all of the citizens' concerns that are listed in meeting minutes from town meeting of this year. So all of the concerns that have been put to this board here, the current board. So if everyone has a copy, and I don't know if we had enough for everybody, if we could maybe look at a neighbor's share a little bit. I thought there would be a few more open ones than there are, but let's go through the ones that are open. So from March 11th, Howard Remick asked to be included in an executive session of the Select Board regarding a personnel issue. And I kind of remember the answer to this from Gary Allard was that personnel issues were the purview of the Select Board and that we weren't going to hold that particular executive session. I think it was about the fire department, if I'm not mistaken. But that is an unanswered citizen's concern that we should probably address as a board. Going down the list, we have another Howard. I'm so sorry, Howard, if you're here. Suggested putting the upcoming ATV ordinance on the ballot for the presidential election. We did not answer that. And if you look just a little bit lower down on May 13th, Dave Morrison, in response to a citizen's concern in a previous meeting, he does not believe a ballot item concerning the ATV ordinance should be added to the ballot this November. So we had opposing requests, one to put it on, one not to put it on, but at the same time, the Select Board did not answer that question. So I feel that we're on the hook for an answer to that. April 15th, and I'm sorry there's a typo here, and because I don't have the original meeting minutes from April 15th, I don't remember Dwayne Keach's first concern on that evening. It was supposed to be, and make sure they are followed through, but I'm going to have to look that up for you because somehow it was deleted. But he did ask for an update on plans for the town garage roof, and I know that the Select Board is still having to come up with fixes for the garage roof, that we have indeed not done that yet.
Sue, can I ask a question?
Yes.
You mentioned that we're only going to be talking about citizens' concerns from town meeting day. but you're-
No, from all of the
From all of
meetings
these.
we've had.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Yes. Town meeting day was the date that I started, and
Oh, I see.
I went through every meeting minutes that we've had, because that's the current board is responsible. So Ron is a new member, Kevin is a new member. It didn't seem right to strap them with things that we didn't do in the past.
Okay, thank you.
And I did volunteer to keep this spreadsheet up, and we could even, I think we could put it on the town website so that the select board's feet are held to the fire. Like, hey, you still haven't answered me from March. If Howard, is Howard here? Howard, do I owe you an apology in person? Okay.
Was this warned with the agenda?
Concerned citizens. It's citizens' concerns. This is a discussion of all citizens' concerns for 2024 board.
Was the spreadsheet warned with the agenda?
Was it warned with the agenda? No.
Was it given out to the public prior to tonight?
No, it's only been available for the last day or so.
Okay, thank you.
I did it in between
This
things
is great
that I have
information. I
personally
appreciate
going on. And I did volunteer to keep it up as we go forward, because I think it's important that we are held to giving responses. Keeping on, keeping on. Dave Morrison, on June 24th, expressed his concern that the current road foreman, Jim Hayes, is making lower wages and has fewer benefits than the previous road foreman, even though Jim has greater experience. He would like the town to consider returning to electing a road commissioner without requiring residency, instead of having the select board take care of road commissioner responsibilities. We have not yet discussed that, so we do owe Mr. Morrison an answer on that. We, the select board, have not discussed this particular
Sue?
issue. Yes, Dave?
Yeah, Dave Morrison. You got ahead of me here. The May 13th, when they're about the ATV issue and the ballot.
Uh-huh,
Howard, the meeting before that, Howard had suggested we do that. And
yes,
At that moment, I thought, oh, that's a great idea.
uh-huh,
Resolve the issue. The reason you can't do that in November is November is all about Australian ballot. We have never voted to take up this particular issue by Australian ballot. So this is more of a town meeting type discussion vote.
okay,
Unless at some time you voted to vote on this issue by Australian ballot and then later you went and did it. That's
So-
the reasoning behind that.
so you don't even think that it would be an eligible issue for the presidential ballot?
Correct.
Okay.
We haven't voted to vote on ATV issues by Australian ballot, so we can't do it.
Okay,
It would just, it's procedure.
Would-
Thank you.
does the board feel that that's a sufficient answer to give? A response to give? Do you wanna look at it further,
You
or
haven't answered the question that was.
is it, could it be put on the presidential election was Howard's question.
I think we still owe the public an answer on the town meeting warrant article.
Yeah, but that wasn't one of the citizens' concerns. It was to put it on the presidential election ballot. I'm gonna just I believe you, Dave, but if I double check and that's the answer, then I believe that's the answer that we can give to Howard about Australian
I
ballot.
used to be right, I may not be anymore.
Well, you were moderator, so I'm sure you know your business.
Things change every day, so.
And Dave, because you were moderator, and I don't know this for certain because I don't have those minutes of the town meeting day in front of me, but I think maybe the article, the motion that was made at town meeting might have been, to just postpone it until, an article would be on the next town meeting day agenda, or, and so I don't know if it was passed that way. Maybe that's another reason why you couldn't do it in November, if I know.
I think it's the type of balloting we're talking about between live and Australia. I
Okay.
think that's the issue, but Sue's gonna check it out.
I will try, Dave, to check that out. On May 13th, we had Jen as cemetery committee chair request that relevant cemetery papers and files be stored in the town clerk's office to give the cemetery committee better access. Do we know if that has been completed?
Have a stack about this big.
And do we think that it's all of the relevant?
I have no idea.
I think that's a question for Warner.
Former sexton, do we think that we've put all of the cemetery-related documents in the town clerk's office?
Yes, I turned over,
All of them?
I turned over everything I had, my working documents from being officially sexton and before when I was just doing it as part of the board. And subsequently, the work that I did after your committee was formed and there was still work to be done that there was no one at that time to do. So yes, I have turned over everything, copies of everything. I brought down records, papers, a lot of my working documents that I created as reference for myself, for the town clerk to copy.
Does this include your recent conversations with Totally Trace?
There's no documents for,
We're just having individual conversations off.
yes, I guess that's how you schedule
So
things.
it's not documented. That's not how I schedule things, 'cause I'm on the committee. So there's no documentation of any kind of conversation that you had with David Helstein
Other than,
on your own.
excuse me, but how many times do you want me to answer that question?
Until I get an answer.
You have all documentation that I have.
Okay, we've got the next one is another Dave Morrison. Hey Dave, if I'd had my way, I would have had a certificate made up for you. Most concerned citizen.
Stop.
You're on here a bunch. That's the one we just said that we have to discuss because we have not discussed the road commissioner, electing a road commissioner versus the select board serving as road commissioner. And the next one is Jim Hayes. Ronnie McLaughlin would like the town to provide material, gravel, to smooth up the pad area where the shed was taken down. The original agreement was for the town to just tear down the shed. The select board needs to let Jim know if the town is willing to provide the material. And we have not done that. And we cannot do it at this meeting because it was not warned, but we can, if the three of you are willing, add it to the August 12th agenda and say yes or no on additional materials to McLaughlin. Okay with everybody?
Works for me.
Okay, August 12th.
Basic,
Uh-huh,
to clarify your 18 thing.
yes.
It says here, the article and the motion to amend will be brought back to the taxpayers in 2025 town meeting.
Okay, so you think that also held our feet to the town meeting date?
Yes.
Okay. I will also look up the Australian ballot, and we have two reasons instead of just one reason. But you're saying that the article for next town meeting, 2025, also applies. Okie dokie. Jen D'Agostino, why did the select board manage the Totally Trees contract to cut trees in the cemetery without notifying the cemetery committee or the landowner? The select board should disband the cemetery committee. Warner Hodgson tried to address the Totally Trees contract concern, but was interrupted several times and unable to provide a response.
Can I get clarification on that? I guess I don't understand the response.
So,
Jeff
We-
D'Agostino, by the way, I'm sorry.
right, you asked the board why we managed the Totally Trees contract, which caught me by surprise, cause I did not manage the Totally Trees contract. But I do have meeting minutes from a moderated meeting between the former sexton, the select board, the historical society, and the cemetery committee, where my notes say that the historical society and the former sexton were going to finish ARPA work that they had started prior to the cemetery committee being formed,
Which does not match the minutes.
which does not match the minutes of the meeting, of
Of the
the
meeting,
moderated
correct.
meeting?
Yes.
Oh, they're in
The-
my meeting minutes.
The meeting minutes say, Warner Hodgson noted that the tree cutting contractor used on previous projects has reached out to him looking to schedule some work that they began planning 2 years ago while Warner was sexton. This would ordinarily be handled by the cemetery committee, but Warner would like to remain involved to maintain continuity and offer his assistance whenever possible. He will work with the cemetery committee to schedule the work.
I would like noted that offering assistance is different than taking control. Those are two different things. The cemetery committee was not even notified. I got a call from Dave Helstein. I was talking to Dave in April about it. I got a call from Dave Helstein the day that he met with Warner privately. So offering assistance and communicating with the cemetery committee are two different things. And the select board put the cemetery committee together. I keep saying this. You put the cemetery committee together to do a job. So you as a select board did not have to do it. And yet, you as a select board apparently are unilaterally moving to make decisions on what you want to do and what you don't want to do. Sue, I'm sorry that you didn't know about it, but one of your board members did and did not contact the cemetery committee. I want that noted and emphasized because it continues to happen and you're doing it as a board.
Okay. What was the date of the meeting?
April 29th.
April 29th. Meeting minutes. Okay, next.
Sue.
You have a hand.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry, I
Hi.
didn't see your hand.
Lynn Fleming, I'd like to just reiterate my agreement with Jen's statement regarding we need to go back to being much more transparent, open, with your communication between your board members and your committee members. We should all be working as a team, we're all working for one goal, and I hope that's for the betterment of our town as a whole. We can't have individual people making decisions on behalf of entire boards. It's great to get the information, bring it back to your board, come to a decision as a whole, as a board. Please include your committee people. We can't backslide. Some of our current board members and our previous board members worked too hard to come to developing and implementing policies and procedures that are pretty much in black and white, what everyone should do, when they should do it, how it should be done, how to address things honestly and ethically. Please don't backslide. Please don't lose the trust of your fellow townspeople. It's too important. This is a great community in town. We should all be working together and not going behind anybody's back. We should have open and honest communication on all matters. Thank you.
Sue, another question?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Will Jones, just briefly, the Vermont League of Cities and Towns does publish every now and then a handbook for Vermont select boards. Here is a reading from page 3 of the most recent one, paragraph 2. The select board must perform the duties directly assigned to it by the legislature and the duties assigned to the town generally, but not to any other town officer, board, or municipal entity, e.g. fire district, library, etc. The select board must not interfere with the duties granted specifically to other town officers, boards, and entities, and it may not perform acts which the legislature has not authorized it to perform. This passage, in my mind at least, lays plain that the Waterford Select Board and its members should not under any circumstances assume the roles of or interfere with a town board such as the Cemetery Committee. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's only one thing there, they're a commission, and they work for this board.
We're a
Committee.
We're a
Committee, not a
We're
commission.
not a
You're a
commission.
committee. Okay, got it
Yeah.
wrong.
And
You
they
still
do
report
work.
to this board.
We can't report without the correct
Well, no, I'm just
communication.
trying to clarify that point.
Thank you, Kevin.
Yep.
The next one, Clem Gray, on July 8th, asked Warner Hodgson to resign from the select board over a budget issue, but that was all of the information that you provided. Do you want to clarify that? Because the select board wouldn't know how to handle that request.
I still ask for his resignation,
But under what grounds?
okay? I know you don't take me seriously because I have a sense of humor, but I am serious about Warner Hodgson resigning. And this time I am not alone. Here are signatures from 87 people of residents of the town who also are calling for your resignation. You will notice that is why more than the vote you were elected with. I hope you take that seriously. Everyone may have a different reason for signing. Maybe it's that you've been proven a liar in the paper. Maybe it's because you overstepped. Maybe it's because you embarrass our town. Whatever their reason, they all want you out also.
Okay, I still didn't hear any real reasons, so let's move on.
I have a reason.
Okay,
If everybody signed it,
What more of a reason do you need?
it
Jen
said
D'Agostino.
everyone could have their own
Allegations.
reasons. Those are allegations that didn't actually say anything.
Jen D'Agostino,
Mhm.
Lower Waterford. We have zero confidence in Water's ability to be on this board. We have been coming to you with issue after issue, and nothing has been resolved. Not only that, but it's reflecting on you all as a board. Because you still have, how many pages of a spreadsheet of things that we don't think have been resolved? I appreciate the spreadsheet. I'm sorry that we didn't get it before the meeting so that we could actually take a look at it. But with zero confidence in Warner from 87 people in this town that are your taxpayers, that you represent, we have zero no, I'm sorry, I have the floor.
You
We
do.
We have zero confidence in the board. There's no accountability and nothing is getting done. You're still trying to get bids on things that should have been bid months ago. Nothing is happening and we're getting no answers. Y'all hang your heads when we come to you and you don't respond, and you're known for that. You have to know that. What are you guys gonna do as a board at the fact that we have zero confidence in one of your board members, and that is all lying on your shoulders as well? Are you gonna continue to bow your heads and just give us another spreadsheet?
I got confidence in Warner, so not everybody feels that way.
And he was elected at town meeting.
Was.
But we got
We
87
have more
votes, 87 signatures right here. That
Well-
is more than he had to get elected.
Not everybody
That
was
doesn't
at.
mean anything?
Not all of us agree with all of the issues that have been brought before us. I'll start with the flags at the cemetery. If the cemetery committee had developed a relationship with the American Legion, who had previously put the flags up, you wouldn't have been able to blame Warner for the flags not going up.
We had no information that that is how it had to work. We had no information.
As a cemetery commission, should you have asked someone?
Committee,
As a
Committee,
cemetery
thank you.
committee, should you have asked someone, hey, Veterans Day is coming up,
we
what's the
thought we had all of
procedure?
his papers. I had to come to the select board
You
and
knew that
ask you for his
flags,
papers.
you knew that flags went up on Veterans Day.
Are you kidding me
Not
right now,
Veterans Day,
Sue?
Memorial Day.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm just saying, you bring issues up, we don't all agree about your take
You
on
don't
the
think
issue.
that it should have been easier to have flags up on the veterans?
I think that if the committee had done their job, they would have developed a
We
relationship
didn't have lists.
with the American Legion. There were highlighted veterans' graves at the town clerk that Deb didn't know about.
So I contacted the Legion through Marcel, he helped me 2 weeks prior to, and the Legion said, sure, not a problem, we will put flags out. They went on that Thursday or Friday to find their list of the veterans for the town of Waterford, could not locate their list, it was not in their records.
I went on record also that because we didn't have the records, at least 50 to 70 veterans in this town were missed on Memorial Day for flags.
Okay.
That's on you.
Warner
You
Hodge had
s-
the list.
Yep.
That was supposed to be at the Legion.
We got it on Tuesday, the day after Memorial Day.
Warner, I just got one question for you, deal with that. You know why the good Lord give you 2 ears and 1 mouth? So you should listen twice as much as what you speak. That's all I got to say to you.
And right now, the board, it's reprehensible that you're defending that.
We didn't have the whole story. And I think that the cemetery committee would know the story.
Sue, I have been
You
coming
come
to
here
meeting
every meeting and you
everything
hammer him.
I'll hammer all of you then if you want.
Okay.
I mean,
Hi,
Ben Lyon.
Ben Lyon.
First of all, the description in this spreadsheet isn't quite accurate of what my concern was or what I said.
I just copied them from the meeting minutes.
It's not really what I said either. Apparently it's not in the minutes either.
We're not actually to you yet. Do you have any other?
Well, here's the question I have. You're talking about whether or not somebody has a legitimate issue showing that Warner something wrong or overstepped.
Right.
His involvement with the water issue by my house, he had no reason to be involved. He had,
From a select board perspective, it was an emergency situation. The
Yeah, it was an
road
emergency.
foreman was on vacation.
no, the situation started before he went on vacation.
Did the select board know about the decisions he was making?
We
Did
got
the
an
board-
email from Warner that
Mhm.
told us what he had looked into. And
I
then,
understand you
and-
sent an email.
and
Didn't
then-
even include Jim, the road foreman in that one, did he?
and then Jim came back off vacation and fixed the problem in the spring
Jim
of
came back in the middle of his
2023.
vacation to talk to me, because I left him a message explaining. And it was not he who sent the state to my house. It was Goss, is it Sean Goss, the employee? Why he has anything to do with knocking on my door with a guy from the state of Vermont, I have no idea. That's way outside his realm of responsibility. I
Right.
do know they were sent there by you, Hodgson. They both claim they were. And then when we talked in the street after the fact, you didn't dispute it with me. So I don't understand.
So let's go backwards.
He clearly overstepped his role in
Let's-
that situation.
Overstepped. He didn't fix the problem. He didn't rent the equipment that he was thinking needed to be rented. The problem was fixed by Jim Hayes.
Yes, but he did communicate with people. And what happened as a result of that was a town employee and a guy from the state spent 15 minutes in my house harassing my wife about me or someone diverting the brook, which is the most asinine thing I've ever heard. If you look at what the brook has done in that spot, and anybody, I mean, you guys have been here a long time. I can tell you what it's done since '86. Diverting it, I mean, it would take me 4 months with a shovel to do what that thing does in a one wet season,
Right.
one flood season.
Right, but
So
we're
this is
lucky.
nonsense.
We're lucky
But
that we
he
have a
did not- so why-
knowledgeable.
Okay, let me ask you, why did I have people at my house? Why was Sean Goss, if I'm getting the name right, and some guy from the state there? Can you explain to me why they were there?
I cannot.
Hodgins, can
I
you-
cannot because I called no one.
I don't even call them, but you did have a conversation
I don't know where you're getting your information, but you,
from them,
no.
what they
no.
said, and what I confirmed with you in the street several days later.
You asked me if I was on the select board and I said yes, and that was the extent of our conversation.
That is not the extent of our conversation.
Doesn't that email bring a quorum? If he emailed all of you to tell you what he was doing, does that bring a quorum?
He was trying to help in an emergency
There
situation
was no emergency situation.
where
Isn't
the
it-
road foreman
There
was
wasn't
not
an emergency
available.
situation, so.
Okay,
It breaks quorum.
Okay, Gary just asked Warner to look into what it was doing, that's all he
Okay.
asked him.
So Gary asked him to do that.
He didn't ask him to correct the situation, he asked
Asked him to look into it.
and
That's all he
ultimately,
did.
Jim, he
Yeah.
didn't correct the
That's
situation.
right, he didn't.
We're
I
lucky
did.
that we have you, and you corrected the situation.
Can you add to this the fact that I haven't gotten a response of whether that email broke quorum?
What email?
The email that you said that Warner sent to all of you.
It was just a update on
Does
the
it break quorum?
situation.
You guys can't meet. You
We-
guys can't
We
meet all
can't,
together.
but we can be informed, and he
Wasn't a
informed us.
decision made.
It wasn't a decision. It was an information about a situation in the town, which I have the right to email any of these guys and tell them about a situation
He
in the
took
town.
action.
But he didn't, but his actions did not get taken, is
They
what I'm
didn't get
saying.
taken because
Right, but
Jim
we're,
came back during his
we're
vacation.
talking about
Stop.
something that happened a year and several months ago that was
We're
fixed.
talking about misbehavior of a board member. We're talking about somebody who believes he has almighty power and does what he chooses. And you're telling us that he has not done anything wrong. Nobody has a legitimate complaint with his actions. I do.
Okay,
Signatures on that petition will tell you that.
Mr. Hodgson, have you been tested for dementia?
I don't think we need to,
that's irrelevant, and we'll get to that later when we talk about participant
personal attacks
are
don't
not
have any part in
helpful.
this.
Kathy Hodgson on July 8th would like the select board to appoint a project manager to oversee the grant projects. She recommended Ron Gray. The select board has not discussed that or made any decisions.
Can I make a comment on that?
Sure.
I believe, Ron, you were also involved in collecting the bids for this gravel mess.
Yep.
And the date that was published incorrectly and all of the shenanigans went on with that.
No
I understand
shenanigans.
you're a former state engineer.
Yep.
I assume that's why people are thinking maybe you should be a project manager involved with this particular project. But that was a very, very, very simple mistake that caused a problem in the town. I have a very large lack of confidence if you can make that kind of simple error, that his role as project manager would be beneficial in the least.
I made a mistake. I admitted I made a mistake. I don't know what you want me to say. The only people who don't make mistakes are those who do nothing. So I made a mistake, and I admitted that at the last meeting. We're getting ready to send it out to be rebid, and we'll go from there.
How many thousands of dollars does it cost the town?
None, because
None.
Jim Hayes wasn't ready for a gravel crushing contract anyways. He hadn't done the top work. Do you remember last meeting? When he told us that he wasn't ready and maybe it could be done as late as October or
He had it
November?
all arranged for McDonald to come in there in May, and then you guys wanted to put it all out for bids.
Because that's what our policy says.
Our purchasing policy for the town says anything over $25,000 should be bid. At least 2 bidders.
The purchasing policy that was not followed.
We did follow it.
You're rebidding in August because you didn't follow it.
Because the date wasn't in both places. The date was in an ad, but not in the documents themselves. And not all of the bidders received the ad in the paper, they received the bid documents that did not have the due date.
And the policy does give the board the right to reject any and all bids. We rejected them because I made a mistake and they didn't get the same information, all the bidders. So some believed that the date that the bids were due was May 31st, but the bid document said June 10th. So they thought they did have it in on time, but they didn't, according to the ad in the paper, which that isn't how they got their information about the bid opportunity. So because of the mistake I made, I don't know how many times you want me to admit it, I made the mistake. Because of that, that's why we rejected the bids, because it wasn't fair to all the bidders when they haven't got the same information.
So what are you gonna do now if you get no bids?
So you have a question?
Well, I guess we'll deal with that if that's what happens.
So I just want a point of clarification. The purchasing policy was broken when you chose to open the 2 late bids and had nothing recorded in the meeting minutes as to why you suspended the purchasing policy to open those 2 late bids. That is what I brought to your attention during the next meeting.
Correct? And we rejected them when you pointed out that we shouldn't have, that we didn't follow our policy. So they were rejected and were re-advertised.
But the argument there, Heather, was that the people who didn't see the due date didn't believe that they were late. We thought that they were late, and so we violated the policy,
Yes.
but the bidder did not.
Well, you never should have opened them.
True. July 8th, Debbie Allard, the road foreman should be in charge of road issues, not the select board. So when we answered Dave Morrison's road commissioner thing that we just talked about a little bit
You want me to
ago.
run my mouth again on this one, Sue?
Yes.
So, 5 of you got together, or 4 now, got together and agreed on something that needed to be done, Jim would tip his hat and do it. It's kind of this awkward situation where Jim is completely capable of running the show, you guys aren't. But you're the road commissioner, collectively, not individually, but collectively. And whether we fix that issue at some point in the near future or not is beside the point. So I agree with Debbie, but there's this inherent problem that you guys are the road commissioner, and Jim knows what he's doing. And while I'm talking, I'd like to thank Jim and his crew and all the outside contractors for trying to get our life back to normal. Thank you.
How many of the board members reached out to Jim to find out if he needed any assistance in all? Or anybody needed any help in town for anything? Nobody?
I have a personal issue right now that I'm not available most days, most times. This is taking me away from my dying mother right now.
That's fine, I understand that.
Okay.
I feel sorry. But you got 3 other ones there, not a one of them.
Well,
I think that
we
Jim
were-
knows enough to ask if he needs help.
You just
also.
said that he was capable of doing it, and we've been criticized for working unilaterally to interfere, so now you want us, you gotta make up your mind what you want.
It's moment common courtesy to call. You're the commissioners. You should call the road foreman and say, is there anything I can do to help you with? I did personally. Is there anything I can help you put out signs, cones, or traffic control?
What limits us, Clem, is that we have to have 3 out of 5 to do anything.
How is that true? When he acted on his own,
He
over the huge dilemma at my house evidently, he acted alone. Did 3 of you agree with his actions? I mean, so you're telling us now, Jim's completely capable of doing everything, none of you have any responsibility to any person in the town to try to make him lift a finger, to try to make an effort. You know, neighboring towns have involvement between the government and their citizens. They have like lists of people who are willing to help volunteer for their neighbors and so forth. None of you guys have lifted a finger to do anything. I don't understand. I mean, why are you here? Why are you on the board?
Maybe there were senior citizens out there that needed water or something that they couldn't get out to get it.
The only thing that I did was I tried to call Jim one day and I texted him, but I was just passing on a concern from a citizen, and it related to a senior citizen that some work needed to be done on the road to make it passable in case of emergency vehicles needing to get there. Jim took care of it. I said I was careful because I know we've been criticized. I was careful not to say, Jim, you need to go up there. I just said, this is the concern. Jim got back to me. I didn't time it, but I would guess it was within 10 minutes saying, I got a crew in the area, I'll get up there as soon as I can.
Right.
And as far as I know, that's what happened.
Jim, were you gonna tell him that I reached out to you, or?
Yeah, you reached out this Wednesday.
A week later.
Well, okay, I don't really find that humorous, but.
I don't either, to be honest with you. You have a hand over here.
Maybe it's the truth.
You know, the 11 flood, when Jim was here too, the whole Selectboard was running around town to see what was going on, to see where they could help him, take care of projects, you know, get them lined up. They knew what was going on. You guys, 2 of you especially, engineers, you're not out there helping him? Maybe size up some culverts, tell him what he should do here or there?
I personally visited every road
But
in
you
this,
didn't tell him what he
in
should
this
do or
town.
help him.
Then it would be unilateral direction,
That's what
which you just were upset with him about.
Aren't you the road commissioner?
We're road
As a board.
commissioner as a board.
Yep, pick and choose.
Let's get on with the
You have
next
a,
one.
you have a hand over here?
If I may perhaps provide some clarity from Vermont state law, road commissioner is one of the town officers required to be elected by Title 17, Section 2646, which requires an election by town of the following, and I quote, "One or two road commissioners who shall be elected by ballot if the town so votes. Otherwise, they shall be appointed by the select board as provided in Section 2651. Section 2651 goes on to specify, quote, "Unless the town votes to elect road commissioners, the select board shall appoint forthwith one or two road commissioners and may remove from office a road commissioner appointed by them for just cause after due notice and hearing. The select board may appoint one or two members of their own board to serve as road commissioners." So as the law currently reads, the town of Waterford has not voted to elect a road commissioner by ballot. Therefore, it falls upon the select board to appoint one or two road commissioners and may appoint someone on the select board to fill this role. However, going back to 2016, which it could be before then, that was as far back as I could see regarding the town reports on the town website, the office of road commissioner of this town has been held by the select board in its entirety. The law quite simply does not allow for this as, again, Title 17, Section 2651 stipulates that the select board must appoint specific individuals as road commissioners and no more than one or two. So how can the select board, whether it's a unit of 5, 4, or 3 as it may have been when this was first, set up, the select board ran it, how can a group of 3 legally operate as the road commissioner?
So you found a deficiency, because I've only been on the board 2.5 years, and we've never had a road commissioner. I wasn't aware that that was a
But
requirement.
you were required by Vermont state law to appoint
We
either
were
the town
told-
elects or the select board appoints.
I was told at the time of joining that the entire select board was the road commissioner.
That's what we voted to do.
Yeah.
Probably long before he was born. It was when Yvonne didn't want to do the paperwork, but he wanted to do the road work, and the town voted at a regular town meeting in March to do exactly what we have now. And back then, of course, people on the select board were 3 old men, or maybe not quite so old. George Bullock worked with him, and in the beginning, Ed was very involved with the roads. Ken wasn't a selectman,
So it sounds like in order,
Anyway, we voted to do this. It could now be illegal.
Right.
It might have been illegal at the time we did it,
right,
but we voted by what we believed was proper methods, being an article on the town warning, to do what we have now, which at the time was to make the 3 select board members the road commissioner.
okay.
And Yvonne worked for them, and it worked at the time. William says that maybe statutes may have been passed between then and now. I'm guessing this was in the 70s.
Okay, thanks for the history
But
lesson.
I've got a collection of town reports back to 1902. I think I can find it if you need it.
I think that we should put on our August 12th agenda, where's our Hannah? On our August 12th agenda, I think we should put select board appoint a road commissioner or 2, but we should get it done if we're in violation
Be careful,
of
because,
state law.
be careful, because the town voted, and unless you vote undo what the town does, you may be on
Except for if it's
tricky
against,
territory.
except for if it's against the law. If the law has changed, then we have to change with
Yeah,
the
We
law.
ought to research it first.
Hey, time to go to lunch.
Okay, have fun.
I'd like to say something.
Yes.
Read something to you. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Tim Hayes, and I'm your road foreman. You may not know that Waterford is my hometown. When I came into this world, my parents owned the carpenter place behind the Rabbit Hill Inn. Waterford is a special place for me. With that being said, I would like you all to know what has been taking place. Warner Hodgson, a select board member, has some personal vendetta against me. He has slandered me to the town vendors and has been outspoken about trying to get rid of me. It's been brought to my attention that Warner has had negative conversations behind my back with my employees, Clearly Warner has a conflict of interest with me, whether it be financial or an oversight of my position. At the last meeting, he publicly attacked my character, and ultimately it was shown he was not being honest. Recently, we had a catastrophic event that caused major damage to this town. The only select board member to repeatedly reach out was Gary Allard in defense of Susan Hayes. She's dealing with a personal matter. In fact, Warner drove past me Saturday morning and could not put his personal feelings aside and ask about road conditions or how we could help. I have been dealing with putting this town back together by myself. I've managed the local contractors in the cleanup effort, worked with State 7 Office of Agency Transportation, the Agency of Natural Resources, so they can provide the resources I need, whether it be bridge inspections, hydraulic studies, and stream alterations, along with hiring trucks and coordinating material with Pike and Ron Fenoff, to be best prepared for FEMA with the help of Heather Gagne and Marcel Lapierre. Also trying to find the time to run the grader to help with putting the roads back together. We have made great strides and continue our efforts to return the town back to what it was. I'm working myself as hard as I possibly can and wonder why I also need to worry about the improper motivations of Warner. I don't know how we can move forward with all the backdoor underhanded dealings. I think these issues need to be rectified along with honesty and transparency from the board in order to bring back a positive and unified committee. I thank you for your continued support.
Jen D'Agostino, I have something that I would like to read.
Can I say?
Sure.
So, Edie Amber, they live on Remick Road. After listening to you read that, I'm thinking, you're obviously all overwhelmed with what you have to do, especially if you're not getting back responses. So I would like to make a suggestion that when you choose or vote on a road commissioner, it is not a board member because it's just putting more on you than is necessary. And I just think that you need to focus on your job as a select board and let someone else, one or two other people focus on the job of commissioner, road commissioner. That's just my suggestion.
Jen D'Agostino, I have an email that I've received that I would like to read. This was dated July 20th, 2024. To the taxpayers of the town of Waterford, Vermont, my name is David Greenwood, and I am the owner, operator of an automotive repair shop in St. Johnsbury, of which the town of Waterford Highway Department is a longtime customer. I am not a taxpayer to the town of Waterford. Having followed the recent newspaper coverage of the contentious actions of the select board member Warner Hodgson, I am writing to provide a third-party observation of the behaviors Mr. Hodgson at my shop since Mr. Hayes has become road agent for the town. On numerous occasions, Mr. Hayes was hired as a road agent. Mr. Hodgson has made, since Mr. Hayes was hired as a road agent, Mr. Hodgson has made disparaging comments against Mr. Hayes at my place of business. This is an outside vendor. These comments have included statements including that Mr. Hayes is being paid too much money by the town. In my opinion, remarks openly made by a member of the town of Waterford Select Board regarding personnel issues is both unprofessional and unethical. It concerns me that a person holding a professional office of the town so openly expresses derogatory remarks about a town employee in a commercial setting. It should also be noted that I have known Mr. Hodgson to have a friendly relationship with a prior road agent for the town. It's my belief that Mr. Hodgson holds a personal vendetta against Mr. Hayes and is not willing to be able to set aside his own personal feelings for the betterment of the town of Waterford. I offer these comments as a concerned vendor of the town. I'm going to read that again, okay? I offer these comments as a concerned vendor of the town. While I have no direct personal interest in the matters of the town of Waterford, I do feel that the taxpayers of Waterford are entitled to have a full select board that is open and honest and keeps the interest of the full taxpayer base first and foremost in their decision making. Sincerely, David Greenwood.
And is there a reason that went to you instead of the select board?
No reason.
Okay.
Did you want to
No
be the
doubt.
corner?
No doubt.
Hi.
Maybe it went to one of the people in the audience because then we find out about it. I mean, otherwise, I know that it was stated over and over again by the previous, the former chair, that you should, I'm sorry, I'm Deborah Caldwell. I didn't identify myself. That we could send our concerns to you guys, and I appreciate the spreadsheet, but, except for that you guys got forced to make this spreadsheet because you knew it was gonna be a contentious meeting tonight, we wouldn't find out about this stuff. It just seems to fall on, you can't talk to each other after meetings, so when you discuss the empty spaces here, nothing happened.
Right.
You guys are getting nothing done. Can't get a gravel bid, you can't, this is crazy.
Open meeting law does not allow us to discuss outside of these
Then you have to
meetings.
figure out a way to be able to do that, so that this isn't a constipated board, that you can get some things done. You're not getting anything done. Seriously,
Just shove it down the road.
I'm sorry.
Maybe we can move on to the rest of it.
Yeah, the last one on the list was LP Billig on July 8th. Would like to see the 100% coverage of health insurance for Waterford employees reduced. If the current employees are grandfathered, it should be reduced for future employees. The select board has not discussed that
I'm
issue.
not saying reduce. I'm just saying that, I'm not, it's
Not
not the right
reduced?
word. Reduced is not the right word.
Okay,
I'm just saying that everybody who has, health insurance through their employer, I'm sure a lot of people have, pay a deductible, pay a monthly fee for their health insurances. And I only ask that, employees, I think that at this point, health insurance is only gonna go up, that the board should look at, and I know that probably, and I'm not saying we shouldn't give health insurance to our, because we should, absolutely, but I think that everybody should also look into maybe asking for a monthly and deductible and all that stuff. My insurance goes up every year, and so does their insurance, so with their insurance going up, my taxes are gonna go up as well. So, I think it's only fair to look into, how we can maybe make it fair to have that, so that's what I'm trying to say.
Will Jones again. If I may, when a person is employed by a business, the business generates its revenue from its customers. That revenue then pays for that employee's wages, also covers some of their insurance. Presumably, the rest of their insurance that they're paying for out of pocket still comes from their wages via the customers down the chain. The road foreman and the road crew's customers are the citizens of the town of Waterford. So, regardless of whether it comes in the form of taxes or in some sort of, holiday tip pool, if that's a thing, we should still be ultimately paying for their entire insurance. I see no reason why that should not be the case.
So you're saying that we should continue?
I am saying that we should continue to do so.
I think we should continue to do so with insurance, but I think that every insurance, I don't think taxpayers should be 100% liable for their health insurance. I don't know where you work. Do you get 100% medical insurance from your employer?
I get 0%.
Do you have medical insurance?
I do.
You get 0% what?
I get no health insurance from my employer. I pay for it out of pocket from the wages that I receive from my employer.
So you have a deductible out of your paycheck for your insurance?
I do not. I'm a seasonal employee. I do not receive health insurance benefits.
Well, if you are an employee, a full-time employee, and you go work for an employer, you can sign up for medical insurance. And you have different types of medical insurance that you can sign up for. You can choose for an insurance for a high deductible, you can choose for an HMO, you can choose for a PPO, you can choose however you want. There must be different, there are probably different out there. However, I don't know about you, but I know as a family member, my monthly deductible out of my paycheck is like over $500 that I pay for my medical insurance.
then I go to the doctor and I still have to pay a $30 or $35 copay.
And I would like you to also consider another side of the issue, and that's hiring and retaining good people. Jim needs to keep people on the road crew, and the benefits that we have, the benefit package that we have, doesn't seem to even be large enough to give him a constant pool of workers, because we've had to hire at least 3 in the time I've been on the board. So reducing benefits at this time, where it's a very competitive work environment, may not be the right thing for the town.
I think another piece to that, Christina Hayes, because I deal with the insurance piece of everything, is what people forget is you're on call 24 hours a day. You don't get a pay differential. There's no pay differential for being on call 24 hours a day. So should that be something to be compensated to anyone who's on call 24 hours a day? Because that would be quite costly, I feel.
That's a whole different issue though. I mean, that's more of an employee contract that you would have with an
And that was a
employer.
contract that we had, was he to get full insurance.
No, and I'm not even saying with the people that are in right now. I mean, people that are hired right now in the town, they're, of course, they're grandfathered in because their contract is set up
Okay,
as
we're gonna pull this back now and just say that, so far in my hiring experiences, we need to offer a great benefits package in order to even attract the employees that we would like to hire. So that ends the citizens' concerns.
I have a question though. I see one thing that's missing from a prior meeting was when Clem asked if the select board was willing to give up their stipends for the difference between what Jim Hayes found for a.
The citizens' concerns on the spreadsheet were taken just from the citizens' concerns section of the meeting minutes. That's all I had to go by, was all the previous meeting minutes that are on the town website.
So are you
So
willing
it-
to, you're unwilling to answer that?
Well, she's just explaining why it's not on
I'm
here.
explaining
But
why
I
it's
do
not on the
remember
spreadsheet.
Clem asking that.
Okay, is that, you're unwilling to answer?
You unwilling to answer now?
What was it again? That you want our stipend, which is,
To pay, to make up the difference from the gravel crushing that it cost.
what did the gravel, from the McDonald thing that
Right.
wasn't the legal bid? No, I'm not willing to give that up, because honestly, this job is not worth, we are not paid, this is a very difficult job, and it doesn't get any easier. So no, I personally am not willing to do that, because I don't believe that there was a legitimate contract with McDonald's when we just got the one quote. If Jim had gotten 2 quotes, we might have been able to say that we followed the purchase policy.
But you agree the town voted on that issue?
On what
For that
issue?
amount that Jim had negotiated. The town voted on the 55,000. In the budget.
We put a budget item in
Put a budget item in.
based on an
Some-
estimate.
Sometimes, some line items overrun.
And some are under.
Some under. I think the overall definitely the overall goal
To
is
get the best price.
to get the best price, and that the overall budget isn't overspent, not a single line item.
So I'm confused then, because the town voted on an amount.
And I'm sorry, you are?
Maria Dantos, town of Waterford. The town voted on the budget that included the 55,000 for the gravel. Thereafter, at some meeting, a few meetings ago, I think there were 1, 2, 3, at least 3 board members that admitted to my questions that they had made a mistake. So which is it? I mean, like, what are you standing by? That the budget didn't matter, the amount could be more or less?
The amount can be more or less than the amount that is budgeted. That is our best guess when we prepare the budget.
So, and do you stand by that a mistake was made by the board in the bid process?
on the due date that was on the
Yeah, I think
documents
I've-
versus the due date on the newspaper, and we have said that many, many, many times now.
So how do you justify the fact that, how do you account for the fact that the town voted 55,000, the board makes a mistake that costs the town more money than was budgeted?
If
we
you would
don't
look
know
at a
that it's-
budget, would you, Heather, could you please show her a actual versus planned and show that not every item lines up?
I'm not a that needs to be managed like that, but I, go ahead and if you could, I don't need to see anything, but maybe you could elucidate the crowd about the budget amount and what happened in the bid process. 'Cause the information that's coming from Ms. Hayes isn't 100%, it is stated with their interest in mind, not the town's.
Yeah, so I mean, I can share what I shared at the previous meeting. So, budgeting process typically happens and starts in the end of September, in which two board members and I met with department heads. And at that time, obviously we met with Jim to develop his highway department budget. And then I presented that budget in its entirety to the board in October and November and December, in which we went line item by line item, to talk about the expenses and where they came from. And it was brought up during several of those meetings where the gravel costs came from and what Jim had worked out as a deal. The select board approved that budget, which was then printed in the town report and brought to the taxpayers in March to vote on, in which they voted yes to adopt that budget. So that's the budget we're operating on. It does have the 55,000 on it from a deal that Jim worked out with McDonald at that time.
I'm confused. Did it cost us money because the bid thing kind of fell through? Did it cost the town money?
It's cost nothing right now because he canceled the bids and we have to
Okay,
go
just-
back
but-
out.
But am I hearing people say that it costs us money?
It would have had they not stopped the bid process
Oh, okay. So what,
as a result of the citizens'
But
concern.
if
so
you
why are
look,
they asking for your stipends if you didn't cost us anything?
I don't know, but if you look at a budget, we follow it as closely as we can. Some items will go over, some items will go under. We juggle that to stay within the overall town budget. And that's just the way budgets are. You do your best guess,
So,
put them together.
Right, Deborah Caldwell again. What I guess my bigger concern, and this is a citizen's concern, is what if we don't have gravel for the winter? I mean, seriously, you guys can go up there and
We have a bid.
dick around. You have a bid?
No.
No,
Process.
yeah,
Great.
it's
we can
being
go get it.
re-advertised, bids will be open August 12th.
Right, and what if the snow flies at the end of September or early October, and we don't have any gravel?
Well,
What happens then? I mean, you guys are getting nothing done. Nothing done.
We've
Well,
already talked
we were
with Jim.
told
and
by
Jim
Jim.
still has to, with everything he's got going on, he still has to cap off, clean off the gravel pit. So, correct me if I'm wrong, Jim, but you said you could wait up until November.
Yeah, I gotta script the top of that bid.
So there's still plenty of time.
And there's, I don't know, Jim, if there's sand for the winter,
I'm gonna need about 3,000 yards of sand.
3,000 yards of sand, so in addition to what you have.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, honestly, I'm still a little confused. So there was $55,000 in the budget. Why did we go to bid?
Because the purchasing policy wasn't followed, which requires a bid process for anything over 25, any expenditure over 25,000. It was,
So
the
that
budget was
55,000
based
was
on one price.
When was it determined that that was a problem and it had to go out to bid? What was the date?
Yeah.
What month was that in?
A couple months ago. cause the closing was June 10th. So it would have been the May something meeting, it would have been either the first or second meeting that we had in May, that we decided to go out for bid. Would have been just a couple of months ago. And we did bid opening on June 10th at our regular meeting. But we did it improperly because we allowed 2 late bids based on the advertisement in the paper to be opened. And we've done, you know, we've had apologies, many. So moving on to
I have
water.
one more, I wanna, Mr. Warner, do you have any response to Mr. Greenwood's email?
Kinda shocked about that because I have all my work done up there. And, that doesn't sound like Dave Greenwood to me.
Oh, jeez, are you kidding me?
Did I get that answer wrong?
Yeah, evidently.
Well, he wrote it.
Evidently.
Are
Okay.
you contesting that he wrote it?
So the Vermont League of Cities and Towns has a document about rules for public participation because we had, actually, did we miss that one? I think it was Maria Dantos asked why, on July 8th, asked why nobody is getting a response. At the time, Gary Allard explained that the select board is listening to citizens' concerns. But another answer is, and I hope some of you picked this up in the back, and I copied it word for word from Vermont League of Cities and Towns, just adding Waterford and Select Board. And I'll read it to you. Vermont's open meeting law protects the public's right to attend and participate in meetings of local public bodies, but the purpose and function of these meetings is for the public body to do the work of the public. They are not meetings of the public. Example, public forums. Consequently, these rules are necessary to manage the public's participation, to ensure an environment in which the public feels safe to express their views on matters considered by the public body, while minimizing disruptions so that the public body can get its work done. So here we go. Please raise your hand to speak. We've done that tonight. Wonderful. Thank you. You may only speak after you've been recognized by the chair. Again, you guys are awesome. Before speaking, please state your name and address for the record. I think your comment was, why do they have to give their address? And they probably don't.
You know,
Unless we need to know it's Waterford.
Yeah,
and
just
that they're-
maybe town of residents, you know, like if you're a Waterford citizen, we don't need to know that you live on Simpson Brook Road, or,
So,
you know.
so we could change it to town of residence,
Yeah.
because if, like Christina Hayes, you're from Concord, the chair wouldn't have to recognize you. They
Right,
could,
we did
but they
here.
wouldn't have to, yes. So please state your name and town of residence. All remarks must be addressed to the chair. I think I've heard Gary Allard say that at least 20 times in my time on the board. Comments must be germane to the agenda item being addressed. Comments under other business, which, again, I liked your comment that we don't have other business. What we have is citizens' concerns. So should I change it to say citizens' concerns?
I don't know, that's
We
just a
don't-
suggestion.
We don't ever put other business on our agenda. I've never seen that as a term. So I'm gonna just change it to citizens' concerns. Must pertain to the business of the public body. Repetitive and irrelevant comments are not allowed. Please wait your turn, do not interrupt others. Each person will be limited to 2 minutes of comment. Now that was a blank, the number of minutes was a blank in the Vermont League of Cities and Towns instruction. But I do, on a couple of occasions, remember Gary Allard giving you guys 2 minutes when he was the chair. This time may be extended only by permission of the chair. The balance of time not used by each person will expire and cannot be reserved or yielded to another. Each person may only speak once on the same agenda item, time permitting, with the consent of the chair. Those yet to be heard will be given priority over those who have already spoken. You do not have the right to vote on agenda items. Please obey orders and rulings of the chair. Keep your cool. Disruptive people will be asked to leave and removed if necessary. Listen well, pay attention, and participate. And with Ron's, you had a third concern?
Well, now that you read it,
It reads okay.
It seems to read okay now, I didn't think it did.
Which
I-
one was it?
I said, disruptive people will be asked to leave and
Removed.
will be removed if necessary, but, and removed if necessary.
If necessary, okay.
Is fine.
So, agenda item for August 12th would be to try to approve these if the board so agrees. Yes, Heather.
So the agenda, has select board roles and responsibilities, and I believe at the meeting, Gary was talking about a refresh about what the select board's roles and responsibilities are. So, you know, I was around when everything went south, like 22 months ago. We've spent a lot of time rebuilding the town's and citizens and community members' trust, in the
Yes.
town office. So I think it would be important for the board to share what they think they're going to do moving forward to rebuild trust and transparency with the community.
We haven't gotten there yet, Heather. In the town clerk's file to us, she put select board duties, VLCT, select board duties. Is that what you're talking about?
No, I mean, I would like to hear from members of the board what you plan to do as a group to repair the trust and the transparency and, you know, with the community. I mean, it's been a long couple of years working towards rebuilding the trust and the transparency, and, you know, I feel a little disheartened personally because we just went through this catastrophic event and lots of really good things happened in this community. Neighbors helping neighbors, people volunteering, people pitching in, and unfortunately that's being overshadowed by this. So I mean, I think the select board needs to be real with the community and share what they plan on doing.
I think we need to communicate better, with the community and, but I also feel that, you know, I think we've been criticized for not doing anything. Well, we need to listen to citizens' concerns, and we need to address them once, you know, the reason sometimes citizens' concerns don't get addressed at the time they're brought up is because, you know, you don't know what's coming, so you need to look into things, sometimes research things before you just shoot from the hip, you know, so, but hopefully we'll get beyond this by trying to be more transparent and communicate better, and you know, maybe the citizens' concerns won't take over the meeting, because the last meeting we spent a lot of time on citizens' concerns, and we had a long agenda, so hopefully there'll be less of those. Not that we don't want to listen, but if we rebuild the trust, maybe there will be less. Yes, but I'm not supposed to be.
Well, it looks to me like this is not gonna go away, and it's probably gonna get worse until the individual resigns. This probably won't go away. It'll carry on, and it probably not gonna get any better, because the citizens have made a petition and asked the gentleman to resign, and then I think people have more trust in the board, and the town can go ahead.
Just a couple of things from me. For the next agenda, we will need to appoint a new chair. I am absolutely not interested in the job, just letting you guys know that. We need to select a new board member. The town clerk told me that we will have an announcement out asking for
It's already been posted downstairs, Heather, I believe you put it on Facebook today as well.
And
Anybody who's interested, please send me an email.
please do so. So we need to get another board member on the select board. I've only been doing this for 2.5 years. I only stepped up because 2.5 years ago, our town seemed to have imploded. We lost a lot of people, the entire board. We lost the town clerk, we lost the treasurer, the town clerk assistant, even these sweet little old ladies that were auditors, they all retired. I went to a town meeting and I was just like, what can I possibly do? I'm a retired person, I have time on my hand and I have some skills. I will volunteer my time. I have since learned that I can volunteer my time and help Deb anytime without having to be on the board. So when I'm done with my term, I will be done and I will still be available to help Deb. So I took on a little bit more than what I knew I was getting into, but I will say that I trust the members on this board. I am not Warner's friend or biggest defender, but I haven't seen the animus that the town has for this man. I on the board do not feel and have not felt, and I think as a board, the 5 of us, when we have 5 again, should absolutely be a united front for this town and not throw each other under the bus and not be horrible to each other, because this is a tough job. And so while I'm not your biggest supporter and I'm not your best friend, I haven't seen the atrocities that are brought time and time again to the board. So I will just say that I think that we will be more effective as a board working together rather than fighting each other. And the same goes with the town, that we will be more effective for you if we're not having to fight you. So.
Mr. Hodgson, can I have your response for your resignation?
I think that was one of the irrelevant or inappropriate. We'll just let him speak about what his plans are for the board, please.
My plans for the board.
Yeah. How will we improve transparency
Well,
going forward?
I'm still kind of in shock at all the attacks that, many of which I do not understand. When I first ran, one of the things that I spoke about was getting things done. And after trying for 2 years plus, I guess probably my approach to getting things done, instead of talking about them, because I don't like to talk about things, I'd rather do them. I got myself in a pile of trouble doing that, obviously. Now, as far as any underhanded, any conspiracy to take over the town or badmouth anybody, get rid of anybody, there is no truth to that. I suspect with the atmosphere here tonight that I'm witnessing, it's going to be very difficult to overcome that. But I never had anything in mind except what I thought was best for this town. Yes, I moved along and did a lot of things, and a lot of things haven't even been mentioned. Work on the water well was one of my first projects. Work in the cemetery where someone was buried in someone else's lot. Just things like that that I picked up one by one and ran with them and got them done. The projects with the cemetery that I started to, well, I guess I should say bring them up to snuff so they could be maintained. I thought that was a grand project. Asked for money and got it, and dove in there head first and found somebody to do it and went ahead and did them. Now I find out I I guess I didn't take enough time to tell everyone what was the plan and all that. It's just, that's the way I get things done, and the things got done. I can't get over people thinking that I'm the kind of person that would try to get rid of someone, a town employee or anyone associated with a town. I cannot figure that out. I know I have experienced many times when I ask questions, if you ask questions, some circles, I guess that's, that's not allowed. If you ask a question, you're trying to take over something, I guess. And that, I have a hard time understanding that. Just all these, being accused of calling the state. I never called the state about the water thing. It just time after time after time, folks apparently don't trust anything I do or anything I say. And that really concerns me, because if there's one thing I do take pride in, it's telling the truth.
So everybody else lies.
Wouldn't it be nice to be able to speak and not have you run your mouth, Glenn? It would really be nice. I'm trying to be honest and straightforward, and you make a joke out of it. This is serious to me. I put a lot of time and effort into trying to do what I thought was best. Turns out other folks don't share that enthusiasm or don't share the way I did it. Or the way I do it, the way I conduct business, pretty straightforward. And it just baffles me, and I guess I'm very disappointed that I have not gained trust, because I've always been a trustworthy man. I instill that in my kids and grandkids, and I almost didn't come to the meeting tonight because I knew what was going to happen. I knew I was going to get ganged up on. It's obvious. But I won't let my kids be quitters, and so I came and faced the music. And apparently I did a lot of things that you folks aren't happy with. I'm not apologizing for doing them, but I'm apologizing for not doing them, I guess, the way that I was expected to.
I just wanted to say something, if I may. Do I have permission to speak? Maybe Amber, Road. I feel that we each were able to speak without being interrupted. And by calling out when you're not recognized is not following the rules. And I just think we need to remind people of that.
Thank you.
He had a right, and not that I'm siding with that, I know there's different sides here, and I'm remaining neutral, but I think we should be fair. And he should have a right to speak without being interrupted.
I guess that's about all I've got to say. Whether I remain here or not, I have not decided, and that's my decision. Will ultimately be my decision. I have other plans for improvement of the town, but I don't see a very hungry audience for any of that. Please don't overlook the things that I have done. Don't believe everything people say they think I have done, or I've got underhanded, backdoor. I don't understand it. It drives me crazy. Because that's not the way I am.
Do I have a chance to comment on that?
No. Kevin, what do you see?
Well, as
moving
one of the
forward?
newest members, I took this job to try to make a difference. And I think with, this board and a new member, we'll try to do that for the citizens of this town, so. I'm still learning. So, bear with us.
Bill Jones.
Thank you. I have a couple questions regarding this open select board position slash appointment. For starters, what are the term limits of this appointment? Is this to fill out the rest of Mr.
Until-
Allen's term?
No, well, yes, because he was done in town meeting anyways. It's till town meeting when an election, proper election can take place.
Okay, and is this a select board appointment?
Yes, it is a select board appointment. My first year on the board was a select board appointment. There was a group of 4, and they were short one person after town meeting because a resignation happened too close to town meeting to be warned. So a lot of us put our hat in the ring, and the select board appointed me.
So that is the case unless a petition comes forward with the correct amount of signatures for a special town meeting to vote on a select board member prior to.
And Suki?
Yeah, I'm Suki Waterford, and I just want to say, I want to thank the board up there for sitting in the hot seat. That's probably the toughest job in this whole town, is to sit in the hot seat and get blamed for everything. When we're supposed to be a town, we're supposed to work together, and we're not supposed to be taking sides and engaging in, and I find that kind of behavior just reprehensible. And to circulate petitions behind other people's backs, I don't think that's a quite fair thing to do. And especially if you're circulating your petition when you're engaging in town business at the same time. And if that was the case, and I don't know if that was the case because I haven't, don't just heard about it, but that should never be allowed because when you're working for the town, the time that you're working for the town, you are representing the town. And so to present a petition because you have an axe to grind or you have a disagreement, that is not the appropriate time. If you want to do that on your own time, fine. If you want to do it door to door, fine. But I don't think you should do it at your place to your home. That's just inappropriate behavior. But I want to stand up too because I think that there's been a lot of sides taken here and it all boils down to he said, she said. Can we just be blunt and get over that, please? Because that's ridiculous. And so if they can't do their job, if you're going to sit here and take a side, step up to the plate, do something. Don't just cry. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Suki.
So, can I go back to Will?
Yes.
If there were multiple people who were interested in the position of the select board member, they would let me know the names. I will share with the board the names. Say there's 4 people that would like to do it. You would come to the next meeting. You would do like we do at town meeting. I am so-and-so. This is what I have to bring to the table. The board, it's my understanding, can then recess, go have a conversation of, okay, we had 4 board member, or 4 people interested. I think we should go with blank. And then they would come back out and say what their decision is.
That did happen during my process, yes.
Does that help?
Thank you, Deb. That's very simple.
Yes,
Suki
Edie.
Amberg again. I just want to clarify something. Maybe you wouldn't know this because you weren't involved, but was the petition given by a town employee to ask people to sign it at the dump?
I honestly don't know. I didn't see the petition, but Clem. Oh, it's here?
But did you ask people when you were working as a town employee to sign that?
Did this happen at the transfer station,
Yes,
Clem?
some
That's
of
what
it
she's
did, yes.
asking.
Some of
Okay.
it did, yes.
Yeah,
Yes, he said the answer was yes.
I have a huge problem with that, like she does. I mean, that's, I don't know. I don't think that should be happening. I think that, I mean, weren't they accusing him of talking negatively about employees as an official? Well, he wasn't an official maybe, but I don't know. It just seems like if you're a town employee, you wouldn't be doing something regarding another town employee. Is that,
I understand. And actually, in this case, it's worse because the board is his boss. So you're just bad-mouthing your boss. Any other comments?
Catherine Waterford. I
Yes.
just wanted to say something to that because I know Clem also promotes the bottle drive for the 8th grade.
Absolutely.
He promotes the library, so it's not just this. And he's doing that on town time too. He's promoting
Absolutely.
those too, so.
And I'm sorry, your name was?
Amy Gendron?
Deborah.
Yes, Deborah Caldwell. I would like a little more information about how you circulate a petition to get this to be for a special town meeting for a vote, because just, I'm a little concerned with what Debbie said, which is probably the rules, that you could have a meeting, and because your next meeting date overlaps with everybody's vacation time, and you have like 12 people show up to the meeting, and then due to your feedback that you get on whatever names you get for interest on this, you can then select who you want. And I have a big problem with that. I don't know why that's really making the hair on the back of my neck stand up, but, so how do you go about circulating a petition for a special town meeting in order to elect whoever's gonna fill this position till the end of Gary's term?
I can read it to you if you want.
Yes, I'd love to hear it, thank you.
So citizens' right to petition for a vote, this is Title 17 VSA 2643 and 24 VSA 963. Grants citizens the right to petition for a vote to replace a select board's appointee at a special town meeting. If a special town meeting is called, the newly elected town officer will remain in office for the balance of the unexpired term. If a special town meeting is not called, the select board's appointee will remain in office until the next annual town meeting.
So it sounds like we go ahead with the appointment regardless of whether a town meeting is called, a special town meeting. And what's the cost of holding a special town meeting?
I'm gonna guess somewhere between $700 and $1,000.
Is that all? To hold a meeting?
I personally don't have that in my budget, but to me it's a lot of money.
You give them a stipend.
Items for next agenda. I know we've mentioned several. New chair, new board member, crushing bids
Crushing bids would be open.
opened,
McLaughlin material.
McLaughlin material,
I have a driveway permit. You're gonna need to vote on the tax rate?
driveway permit, tax rate,
And are we having a conversation about mold?
mold at the garage.
Marcel, was that your quote, what you got?
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah, nobody's seemed to be interested in it, so.
You didn't have it at our last meeting.
No, I've got a quote.
I'm sorry it didn't get put on this meeting, but it was a working meeting, so let's have that mold quotes.
So, we're gonna need to have a conversation about how to pay for the damage. Because we're starting to get bills and we are not going to have enough money to cover the damages. So,
Could he have a relationship with FEMA?
well, there's not a disaster declaration right now, so.
And that's a year
That
out.
would be the first one.
That'd be a year out.
So we need a disaster declaration, and even if we work with FEMA, we're talking about probably 22 to 24 months before we get money. Okay?
Yeah.
So, Marcel and I are reaching out to banks right now to talk about, what do they call them?
Line of credit.
Basically a municipal line of credit, and we need to have a better idea of the dollar amount that's gonna be needed, but, the interest rates are pretty steep.
I have a question relating to that. Is it okay if I ask it?
Yes, about the
So-
budget?
No, well, kind of, it's about the FEMA. So they're saying it's been on Facebook, they recommend that people, even if you have a small amount of cost repairing from the flood, to let them know. And I went into the website and I cannot, does anyone know how you put that information?
211.
Well, is it better to call? I say I could do I don't need pictures, I was gonna do it online, but I can't
You
figure
can go
out.
online or you can call 211 to report your
I
damage.
couldn't find it, I went online, I couldn't find where to.
So it's on one of our Facebook posts.
People are having problems with 211 now.
Yeah, you just have to keep trying.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's a couple steps before we even get to, be able to work with FEMA.
Yeah.
And we're not there.
Save all your receipts for anything.
Okay.
And contact your insurance company and get a denial letter from them,
Oh,
because you'll need that for FEMA.
Would an email be sufficient or?
Well, yeah, you need something, I mean, if you're
Okay.
interested in using, they're gonna deny it.
Deborah?
Sorry to take your time again, but can you put this information on the website? Because I was kind of surprised that there wasn't any information, and I didn't think that it would be fair to call the town clerk's office in the middle of a disaster.
Oh, feel free to call me.
Feel free.
I think
Great,
Heather's
but
posted,
can
you
there-
posted it on the Facebook page, correct?
Yeah, I have all of the,
I get blocked out of Facebook. I don't have a Facebook account. I'm not
Okay.
interested in tracking what I do, so it's like,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
We can put it on the website.
once I get access to it.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah.
Why do you get blocked?
So the town website, the person, the business that hosts our town website let their security certificate lapse, and so we are desperately working to get that. That's why I've been posting so much on Facebook too, is because that's how I'm communicating with the public.
Okay. Thank you.
But Deborah, feel free to call me anytime.
Okay.
One thing that you do want to take into consideration with this personal property thing, document, take all kinds of pictures so that you have that. So when they do get around to, you know, whether you get denied or not, you have all that information, you have the pictures and documentation to show what damage you had. If you don't have that, then I'm gonna be more reluctant to possibly give you anything.
I take pictures of everything.
There you go.
That's true. Don't I? That's true. I took pictures that Wednesday night, I took pictures when it was daylight.
And at risk of making this agenda way too big, one more item was a quick discussion of the paving grant. Jim, Ron was saying there's just a small little piece.
That's what I understood from you, Heather. I'm sure Jim knows too, but the paving grant starts at the Waterford side of the over I-93 bridge. It may be a discussion on whether it should include that few hundred feet from the town line up, because I'm just thinking and I'm not sure with the disaster and everything, if that's even gonna come to, if that's gonna happen or not, if the state funds are still gonna be, I don't know if they're committed to those, or do you know, Heather?
We have a fully executed grant agreement that's been countersigned, so that's all I can stand on right now.
Okay, but, just, if it doesn't get paved, when they do this, then I'm just, when would it get paved again? Probably the next time the whole road gets paved.
I'll have to look for clarity on that. It was my understanding that they were doing right to the town line.
So maybe in your next conversation with Logan.
Makes sense.
Well, with, no, with,
With Mike?
no. Because originally it was just going to the Waterford side of that. But then the additional, when we had another talk about it, it was going to the town line.
Okay.
I will check and make sure, get clarity on that,
Okay.
exactly where it does go to.
All right, thanks.
And that's all I have. Kevin?
Anything else?
Warner?
Kevin?
Were we gonna have a discussion on appointing road commissioner, one or two people?
Yes. That didn't make the list?
I wrote it down.
Okay. Road
Whether we
commissioner
take
appointment,
action, we can have discussion.
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 I don't know that we'll be ready to appoint someone unless someone steps forward and volunteers that they're interested.
Yeah, I think we ought to just research things a little bit too. I realize,
I'd like to see
I'm
the
not
law.
questioning what you found, I just I think we ought to look before we just leap into something.
I just wanna add to Ron there, when you research, you'll wanna come up with job requirement, with what's expected of a person. You wanna have expectations of the job,
Oh.
whatever you're.
Job
before-
description.
Yeah, because whoever is going to do the job, they need to know what it entails if it's something they feel they can
That's something we need to look at.
In Concord, the road foreman is the road commissioner.
That kind of is silly to have somebody sit over, because then we're gonna get into the same problem that we had before, where nobody can make an independent decision, because now you have to wait for a quorum or a whatever. It just seems like you're again retarding the process of progress
Right,
in
right,
town by
right.
making it so many levels of,
right.
so that's what my.
Again,
Sorry.
If Mr. Jones could give us that statute on our way out the door, we could look that up also.
And just to further add, I don't have a specific citation for this, but I believe under state law, the road commissioner is required to be a resident of the town
Yeah,
unless the town votes by article, by warned article, to allow someone from outside the town to be appointed or elected as road commissioner, a la what used to be the case with the delinquent tax collector.
yeah. I saw that in Dave Morrison's concern about road commissioner. He did say that the town would have to eliminate the residency requirement. So I was aware of that.
Yes.
And I wanna say on my own behalf, I've got 40 years of experience doing this stuff. I really, really don't think that I need any more oversight, to do my job. If you look at my job description, it states very clearly what the responsibilities of my duties are.
I wrote that.
Yes, you did. So I want you to take that into consideration when you're making a decision about this.
Dwayne in the back.
Dwayne,
So, like, everybody needs a boss. Everybody needs a leader. Now, if he wants to be the road commissioner, or whatever he wants to be, somebody should be his boss.
Somebody is.
Well, if you go be your own, no, you won't be.
well, the road commissioner would still have to report to the select board. We would
Well, the select
appoint,
board doesn't do nothing now, so who's he gonna report to? Come on, Sue.
we got everything?
Move to adjourn.
Any seconds?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned at 7:43 PM. That was